Allendale Public Schools commit to educate, inspire, and support all students. You got the roll, Amy? Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Statement of commitment, Kevin?
Principle 4.1, individual trustees as locally elected officials with state delegated responsibilities by their words and actions reflect upon all trustees, even beyond their own district.
Thank you. Public participation process. Members of the audience are welcome to make comments at the time designated on the agenda. Please register on the sign-up sheet and limit your comments to 3 minutes when your name is called. Out of respect for all individuals, please refrain from personal criticisms in an open forum. And there is more detail underneath policy 167.3. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion from Anna, second from Kevin. All in favor of the agenda as presented, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say the same. Motion to approve carries. And next on the list is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as
Support.
Motion from Kevin, second from Anna. All in favor of the agenda as presented, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say the same. Consent agenda carries as presented. And next on the list, we have our educational highlights. I'd like to ask Ronnie Silvera to please step forward. So, Ronnie is a cross-country runner for Allendale High School. He's a sophomore. I have some things to make you blush here. He took 14th place at the state meet. The top 33 are considered all state, so 14th. I don't know if you knew this or not, you were the top sophomore in Division II, so #1 runner for sophomores. Throughout the season, he has broken the Allendale record multiple times. And when the chips were on the table, all state, he's running against the best of the best. He ran his personal best all time and set his own record again for Allendale. So give him a big round of applause. Well, next on the list, we have our public comments. Troy Lampin.
You ready? Good evening. I just wanted to first start out with a thank you. Had opportunity to take advantage of some of the nice weather this weekend, and I came here with my kids and visited a few of the playgrounds for a while. And all of my kids took the opportunity to share with me about the accessible playground features that were added and how much they enjoyed it and how much joy they got out of seeing their classmates being able to use it, and how wonderful it was for them to participate in that as well. So I just wanted to thank the PTO, the board, Dr. Cooper. That's wonderful. That really brought a smile to my face watching my kids play and tell me how their friends are using that equipment as well and are able to. So thank you. I would like to just speak briefly also about the HR position that was brought up in the work session. I think Dr. Cooper brought up some very good points, and I think this is a worthwhile endeavor. Yes, it is a bit of money, but I think the rewards are worth it and what we will get out of it. It helps create a positive image within the district and the greater area as a place that prospective future staff members will want to work, want to come to Allendale. It shows that we as an educational institute and as a business, as it were, are taking ourselves seriously, and this is a serious thing. It can help create that narrative to draw families to the district, draw staff to the district. It can help create a connection further to Grand Valley and the educational programs there. It also helps create another layer of protection. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with like the Swiss cheese model at work in the corporate world. The more layers you have, the less holes you have, and the less things that get through. I don't see any negatives to that. I think that creates another layer of protection for the district, for the staff. Having someone on staff who's an expert and knowledgeable in all of those areas is a cost savings. Also, as Dr. Cooper mentioned, less time spent contacting legal, less time waiting on legal, less time incurring those charges. I think in a town, in a county that is one of the fastest growing in the state, I think that sets a precedent and shows other people in other areas that we're taking this seriously and it's worthwhile doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Troy. Next on the list, Emily Miller.
Hello. I first want to speak in favor of hiring a full-time person specializing in human resources, like Troy said. As an employee of the district, I would feel much better served with an HR rep. We should have someone who is responsible specifically for managing every aspect of the employee process, including orientation and training new staff members, and having checks and balances in general for all employees in the district. It is important that employees feel that there is a person that they can speak to about any issues or questions. Since it is November, I also want to show gratitude to someone in the third row over there that doesn't want to be named and his facilities crew because they work tirelessly to keep our school and classrooms and entire district clean and up to date. A few weeks ago, they even installed a little workspace cubicle at ECC for staff to use because we're kind of running out of room. I also want to thank our entire behavior support staff for the district. Mr. J and his team have been doing a great job district-wide, helping us implement PBIS correctly to help our students succeed in a positive way. I am so grateful for our behavior aides, social workers, counselors, and anyone else who helps us whenever we need it. We would not be successful as teachers without your support. And on behalf of the Visual Arts Department, we want to say thank you for supporting us in attending the Michigan Art Education Association Annual Fall Conference like we do every year. This year was in Ann Arbor, and there were over 400 art educators from around Michigan coming together to share ideas. One of our teachers, Mrs. Sui, presented how she uses ASD and speaks in her classroom, as well as we heard from other national keynote speakers. So being able to attend professional development specific to art education is vital. Lastly, I want to plug our winter art show. It will be at the Sigleric Fine Arts Center, and its opening is on December 4th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Each art teacher will be selecting around 40 artworks to be displayed for a full show from young 5s up to 12th grade. This will be up through the month of December, and we hope that you can stop by. It is a great opportunity to stop in and show the support of young artists and see their growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. That concludes our list. Is there anyone who did not get on the list who would like a chance at the podium for public comment? Okay. All right, next on the list is committee reports. Anything to report from the SEAB?
Nope.
Nothing to report there, okay. And next on the list is the superintendent's report. Dr. Cooper?
Thank you. Yep, you can see there's some important dates there. You can tell that the holiday season is upon us. We're starting to see a lot of performances on the calendar, so if you get a chance to check some of those out, we have some tremendously talented students, both in art, but also in music programs as well. We also have a robotics tournament that we are hosting at the middle school on the 18th, so if you get a chance this weekend to check that out. Our kids have been very successful in robotics the last several years, so we want to give them all the support we can. Next up was the bullying and discipline reports, and again, you know, this might be a conversation for down the road. Maybe rather than doing them quarterly, we look at doing them at the end of each semester, because this first quarterly report is basically September, right? It includes July and August. We're not even in school till the end of August. But so as you look at those reports, there's not a lot that stands out there yet. Sounds like from most of our building principals that they're seeing a lot of disrespectful behavior that they're trying to address, and of course that's why we're putting so much effort into our PBIS, that positive behavior support. They go over the matrices, they talk about what the expectations are and how we want to treat each other with respect, and just continue to work on those skills with our students. But in general, I didn't know if anybody had any particular questions for the reports for this month, or I should say this quarter. Okay. And then I do not have any other this evening, so
Okay.
I'm all set.
All right. Next on the list is board comments. Start from my left. Josh? Anna?
Just one thing, having just celebrated Veterans Day, I wanted to acknowledge them, whether they're listening online or if we have any vets present today. Just to honor our men and women who have sacrificed and served in fighting for our freedoms here in America today. And just want to say God bless you, I honor you, and thank you. That's all.
Kevin?
I'd like to say congratulations to Ronnie again. In an individual sport, it's all about yourself and, you know, working within a team, but pushing yourself to be top in the state is very admirable, so congratulations. That's all I have. Thank you.
Can I piggyback real quick? I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this in my comment, but our team finished 4th, missed 3rd by 1 place, which is incredible. But what I noticed was that there were only 2 schools, the team that took 1st in Allendale, where all 5 of the placers were in the top 100. So we have a very strong team, and Ronnie is the leader of that team. But that's quite an accomplishment for that team. I just thought we should probably mention that too, along with the great individual accomplishment.
Yeah, and finishing 4th, that's 1 spot away from all state. So
Yeah.
they were 1 spot away from the
Yeah.
whole team being here. And, yeah.
Next year.
that much. Go ahead, Liz.
Sorry.
No, you guys are good. Yes, congratulations, that's awesome, especially as a sophomore. Really excited to see how you will progress and continue to grow, so that's really cool. Ditto what Anna said, thank you to all of our veterans. If there's anybody here today, we really appreciate all of your support. I do think that the bullying and discipline would make sense semester. I like that idea, so that's all.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Kim? I have nothing to add to those comments either. So next on the list, we have our action items. Do we have a motion to provide board policies as presented?
I make a motion to approve modifying board policies 1422, 1623, 1662, 2260, 2260.01, 2266, 3122, 3123, 3362, 4122, 4123, 4362, and 5517 as presented.
Support.
feel like
You don't want to repeat that?
Kevin got the short.
Motion by Kevin, second by Anna. We are now open for discussion.
Yeah, these policies, every one of them is a compliance policy, and every one of them, you have to list the names of compliance officers, and in every instance, we needed to replace Dr. Reynolds' name with Beth Voss. And so that's what we're asking for here. I know it's a little bit cumbersome to do it this way. The only other alternative is you can pass a resolution to have the superintendent just take care of technical issues like this, but I think it's good for the board, because if nothing else, it gives us a chance to reflect on those policies again. And then the only other alternative would be to make sure that Beth stays for 50 years, so we never have to do this again. So 50, that's the target number. But yeah, this is simply, we need to update the contact person in those policies, so.
Anything further? Okay. All in favor of revising the board policies? I'm not going to list them. Say aye. Aye. All opposed, say the same. Motion carries as presented. Next on the list, do I have a motion to approve the language for the non-homestead renewal?
Make a motion to approve the ballot language for our required non-homestead millage renewal.
Do I have a second?
support.
Motion from Kevin, second by Liz. We're open for discussion.
Yeah, this is, when they came up with Proposal A, 1994, they changed the way that taxes are collected in the fund schools, and part of that is this non-homestead millage on businesses, second homes, rental properties, and schools are required to renew this millage every so often, and you can actually renew it once every 20 years, I think is the limit. You could go that far out, but we decided that 4 years was a good amount of time. That way, no large group of people go through voting without ever having a chance to review it. But it's very important that we do collect these taxes. If we don't, it'd be a huge hit to our fund. It's about $5 million in non-homestead taxes that we have, and so it is critical. Our current millage ballot language carries us through 2024, so we will be able to collect next year fine, but if we don't get this passed in 2025, we will take a huge financial hit. So again, doesn't raise taxes on anybody's personal home, only on businesses, second homes, and rental properties.
Any further discussion?
Can you just clarify for me?
Sure.
I don't have my own mic. This is, what we would be asking for is what we currently have, not an increase, it's the same. So the $20.78 or whatever on each $1,000 is currently what taxpayers are paying.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. No?
It's not currently what they're paying. They're paying 18 mills.
Okay,
That extra from 18 to the 20.7795 is the cushion in case there's a heavy rollback. We can still collect our 18 mills. No one is taxed higher than 18.
I'm sorry, that's what she was asking. 18,
Okay.
18 mils is the top.
Yeah, I thought you meant.
Yeah, they're not paying the 20.75.
okay.
Anything further? Any other topics? All right, we're going to go to roll call.
Circle,
Yes.
Rainey,
Yes.
Mango,
Yes.
Holsteig,
Yes.
Hendricks,
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Motion carries as presented. Next on the agenda is discuss hiring a human resource director. Do I have a motion to approve adding the position of a HR director?
Motion to approve a hiring a full-time human resource director to begin on January 8, 2024.
Do I have a second? We are open for discussion.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, yeah, we talked last at our work session, there's, to try to make some of the rationale for why this would be important. I checked around with other area schools about our size and about our, student enrollment and the number of employees. We have significantly higher number of employees. Most districts our size have anywhere from like 305 to 340. We have 540, and the main reason for that is because we use a lot of student custodians. Saves us a lot of money. They do a great job. They got a lot more energy than most of us, and they do a fantastic job, but a lot of them can only work 1 or 2 days a week, and then some of them will take a hiatus during a sports season. We also have a lot more lunch supervisors, for example, because we do the same thing. We want as many people who want to work in the school come in as possible, and if they can only work 2 days a week, we welcome them in. And so we might have 12 or 14 lunch supervisors in one of our cafeterias where another school might only have 6 because they have the same 6 people every day. So we do have a higher number of employees, but I think that there's really good reasons why we do. One of the things that just has become a real challenge with human resources, with the teacher shortage, is they just keep changing the rules on certification and emergency certifications and substitute certifications. And next year, several years ago, like 5 years ago, the state passed new legislation on certification bans. So where it used to be you could be K-8 certified or 6 through 12 certified, now it's like K2, 3-5, 5-8. It's just, there's a lot more complexity to making sure that a teacher is certified for the right positions. They also just recently expanded. We got a letter last week. Again, using myself as an example, so I have a teaching certificate that is, I'm K-8 for all subjects self-contained, which is ZG, the bracket or whatever that you're in, but I'm also 6-8 English and Social Studies. Well, what they said is if you have that K-8 self-contained certification, you can teach all subjects in the middle school now. So I could go teach 8th grade math. I could go teach 7th grade science. Now, do we want to do that? No. But it does give you more flexibility, especially if you're trying to create some more elective choices, because sometimes you try to create these elective choices and they don't fit neatly into a category. So it's good, but it's just another very important place that an HR director could help make sure that we're using all the flexibility we're being given, but B, make sure that we're staying tight, because if you don't follow the actual letter of the law, they can dock you on your student fund allowance. So you have to be really careful with how you do it as well. I mentioned the fact that, we have Jennifer Cry is doing our intake with our employees, and just a lot of work on her, again, because of the number of employees. We have a lot of turnover like they do in most industries, and especially when you have positions where people are working 2 days a week, that creates a lot of turnover. So it used to be most of your hiring in school happened in August, right? You loaded up for the school year and everybody stayed for the school year except for a couple. It doesn't happen anymore. And so there's a lot of turnover throughout the year. We have a lot of employees that go on leave for like maternity leaves and things like that, and those have to be accounted for. FMLA leave, now that maternity sometimes qualifies for FMLA, so that has to be accounted for under HR. I also I was at the countywide HR meeting last Friday, actually, and kind of asked the group there, and some of the things that they do that maybe would support us, and a couple of them talked about the fact that if their superintendent's out, they cover district office. If a building principal might be out, sometimes they cover a building. Now, we like to have teachers fill in, and we would want to probably still do some of that too, but there might be times where it would be good to have the HR person do that. A couple of the HR directors, a lot of them are former building principals, so they talked about mentoring with the building principals, being able to come alongside them and support them. And then a big piece is every one of them is the Title IX coordinator for their district. And so here we use Beth's going to be and Troy. They set it up that way right now so that you have an investigator and then you have another level where the superintendent if there's an appeal. And so Troy was willing to take that on. Does an incredible job, incredibly knowledgeable, but Title IX investigations take a lot of time. And so now we have a building principal who has to use this amount of time to do these investigations, whereas if we had an HR director, they wouldn't be removed from what's going on in the building day to day. So I know there's a financial cost to this. It's not insignificant. We did talk about a little bit in my update this week. I mentioned the fact that we are doing better financially than we, in January, February, even into June. It's hard to know exactly what your financial outlook would be. We've gotten a lot of grant dollars. We continue to apply for grant dollars. We just received another one that's about $380,000, I think, for transportation. We're meeting tomorrow, Beth and I and Gary. I don't know if Scott's in on, I think Scott is in on that. We're talking about 31AA, where we might be able to get up to another $500,000 in grant money. So we're in a better financial place than maybe we were at the beginning of the year in January, February, and I do think it's a position we can sustain, and I think that it would not only support district office, it would support our building administrators, it would support our staff, as Ms. Miller pointed out, be good PR, as Mr. Lampin pointed out, and I just feel like, I think it's a position that this district, with its size and, always bubbling for that expansion, we're just looking to grow. I think it would be a really good investment for the district. That's all I have to say about that. You can tell I'm a little excited, so I'm sorry if I talk too fast.
How would this change Jen's role, what she does right now?
I think the biggest pieces it would take off Jen's role is the certification and like the sub-certs. And so what happens is sometimes you get folks who maybe have completed all their coursework to be a teacher, but they haven't passed the teacher certification test. And so then you have to apply to the state for sub-certifications, and then there's so many years that you can do that. Sometimes you get someone who comes in who worked in business, but they're gonna teach business classes for you. They don't have you can get an emergency cert for that. So all those special certifications would come off of Jen, and that's a lot of work for her. So I think that would help her a lot. She does a lot of work on posting positions, so the new HR director then would be the contact person for our building principals. So that would come off her plate as well. FMLA is huge. I don't know exactly at any given time exactly how many we have, but I bet you we probably have 3 to 5 FMLA claims every year. And so now you're coordinating benefits with your, with your health insurer and making sure that people know exactly, hey, you're going to be out this many weeks and you're on FMLA, but we got to keep your insurance active so that you don't lose insurance coverage and things like that. And there's just a lot of pieces like that that an HR director could take over for Jen. So the other thing they did for Jen's position is we have to do what's called a REP report, which is the Registry of Educational Personnel. They now changed it so you have to update that report every month. And so that's Jen. She's constantly going in there and updating that report. And again, they've just continued to add layers of work to that HR department.
Where would this person fit into the, right word, hierarchy? I mean, organizational structure. I mean, would they help decide, teachers' classrooms assignments? Would they be involved in that at all, or would?
Not really, not usually. I mean, they would, only if, like, let's say Travis calls up and says, hey, this is the schedule I'm looking to run this year, this is who I've got on my staff, can you help me work through their certifications to figure out, you know, because again, especially, you could have Garth Cooper teach eighth grade science, you probably don't want Garth Cooper teaching eighth grade science, so the HR director would probably know that pretty well too. But so when you think about that organizational chart, there's Garth, and then there's Gary and Paul and Beth and Jody Brower, and they're all that, Mike, that next level, and so that's where that HR director person would be. And they would be above the building principals on the organizational chart, because again, they would do some of that. In some of the districts, they actually have their HR director do some of the evaluation of their administrators. I'm not anticipating wanting to do that. You know, mentoring our admin is still one of my favorite parts of my job, so, but that they could do that. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yep.
So I will say, probably just for the benefit of everybody here, one of the things that I was looking at in thinking of this position is, it's a big sum of money, so asking to add another administrative position to a school, I think it has benefits, but I also think we need to be careful and not get too administrative heavy instead of student-facing positions. And so you did do some really good research, which I appreciated, in kind of looking at where we fall in the county in terms of, you know, administrative to student ratio and teachers and things like that. Just making sure that we're being fiscally responsible and that we're using our dollars in the right places. So I appreciated the information there. So I think that is good. So thank you for that.
Would this person obviously would be pretty heavily involved in like negotiations and with
Yeah, great
unions?
point, Kevin. Sorry, I didn't mention that. Yeah, they would probably be the point person for that. I mean, I've heard, again, there's all different ways you can do that. I've heard where some superintendents, like, yeah, my HR person meets in the room with the groups, and I sit in my office, and if they got a question for me, they come get me. I would probably like to be in the room, particularly at the beginning, but again, I'd let the HR person take the lead on that. And, you know, your HR person, I know the contract pretty well, but once a person's been in that role for a couple of years, 2-3 years, where they kind of live within your collective bargaining agreements, and they kind of live within your board policy for professional staff and support staff, they kind of become experts in that area. So those are the people you kind of want leading those conversations. So that's a great point. Sorry I didn't bring that out.
And then what about, how much would they be involved in like the professional development piece?
Not much.
okay.
No. The only thing that they might help with is like, so we started doing some professional development for our support staff, for example, and so just coordinating with HR on, you know, how do we compensate those people, you know, if they go. So that's where that position, we work closely with Beth, because Beth kind of, you know, we get a group that comes to us and says, hey, we saw they're offering this professional development over here, and we'd like to go to this. So Beth always kind of says, okay, well, let's think about it. We know what our strategic plan is. We know what our district improvement goals are for the year. Does this PD fit with that? It might be fun to go learn this reading activity, but if it doesn't really fit with the new curriculum we bought, then Beth might say, yeah, probably not worth your time or the money. But if it does align and it does fit, then Beth would say, yeah, we're gonna have them go do this, and then she would talk to the HR director and say, okay, just so you know, we need to compensate these folks for that time they're going to work. If it's outside their regular hours.
Now, you said you were, should be closer, sir. You were at a HR meeting. How often do them happen at a countywide level? And
Twice a month. So once we meet in person and once we Zoom. And so it usually works out that I have twice per month with superintendent meetings, and they're alternate weeks. So superintendent meetings first and third, HR second and fourth, so that works out well. Yeah, I was the only superintendent in the room again, so most of them have HR directors. Spring Lake does not have an HR director, but he wasn't there on Friday, so.
What are the qualifications for the position?
Yeah, you know, typically you hire somebody who's been a building principal, that's the best. I mean, you sometimes, you will occasionally get folks applying who have come from the HR world in the private sector, but not quite as often, and part of that is because you might do a great job at Corewell Health and Human Resource, but this certification stuff for teachers and licensing and, and speaking of licensing, when you talk about how our preschool is just growing, what kind of license or certificate does your GSRP teacher need? What does the associate teacher need? What does the aide need? There's so many complexities that are unique to education that you typically draw from the ranks of education. So most of the HR people I know were building administrators at one time.
Sorry, I got a lot of questions.
No, I'm glad you're asking.
Emily had mentioned about having a person for the teachers to go, how much would that take off your plate, or how much would that change? If a teacher had a complaint or something, that it would go to the HR instead of you, or?
Yeah, I don't know on that. I'm not sure what the teachers would have in mind on that. I mean, they all have a union rep in their building, they have union leadership, they have a building principal, in many cases an assistant principal. They have academic coaches, so if it's a curriculum concern, they have Beth, they have myself. So they have a lot of folks. I guess it's just one more person that they might be more comfortable with. I'm thinking, again, they might feel more comfortable if this person is well-versed in FMLA, for example, if this person is well-versed in leave, if this person is well-versed in benefits, you know what I mean? So I think that's where they'd probably, rather than going to their building principal or their union or whatever, having somebody who knows those particular pieces, which is really important. If you need leave, right, if you need, FMLA, you want to know the person you're talking to can help you through that process. So I think that's where the benefit would come in. I don't know that it would take a lot off of me, but it would probably take a lot off of Jen in that respect, because that's mostly who they're going to right now.
One of the items you had listed here was teacher retention. They would help with that. Could you describe what that looks like?
Yeah, I think, again, it just, a couple of things, it keeps them, it gives them that person that they can go to, that support person. I think it helps us make sure our contracts are straight. It makes sure that, not just with retention, but also with recruitment, I think, is a big part when you have an HR director. I don't have time to go to Grand Valley's recruitment fair or, MSU's recruitment fair, but your HR director can go sit up in a booth for the day and try to recruit kids to the district and things like that. And so I think from the recruitment part, I think it's huge. From the retention part, I think it goes to, again, what we heard about, just that comfort and that feeling like, okay, this is a district that's committed to giving us the best service possible.
And follow up to that, where do you see this person on we had a grievance chart to different areas you had to report to. Where would this fall? Or maybe that would be a good topic for our working session of kind of the complaints, because the typical thing is to go directly to an HR, and that would circumvent what we've already established. So maybe at our working meeting we'll.
Well, I'm gonna knock on wood a little bit. I'm in my 7th year and we had never had a grievance since I've been here. So the grievance procedures are typically embedded within their collective bargaining agreement, so I don't know that HR would step into that role.
Mhm.
However, I think one of the reasons we don't have a lot of grievances is that I do have monthly meetings with the AEA to talk to their leadership, and sometimes they bring concerns to me, and we're able to remedy those before they become a grievance. And so that's where I think this HR person could help intervene with some of our other groups too, maybe have more regular meetings with our transportation folks, have more regular meetings with our paraprofessionals or our secretaries group to maybe say, how are things going? What are some of the things that you think we can improve upon? What are some of the things that are, we talk about retention, what are some of the ways that, we can build morale or whatever? I think that the HR person could have, a positive effect on those types of situations. But I think the grievance procedure, because it's negotiated, probably would be a little different. So I think that's a big part of that.
Rainey,
Yes.
Mango,
Yes.
Holsteig,
Yes.
Hendricks,
Yes.
Kanata,
Yes.
Fairkettle.
Yes.
Thank you very much, thank you.
Motion carries as presented. Next on the list, we're gonna change our dates for our board meetings from December 11th to December 18th. Do I have a motion to move our date from December 11th to December 18th?
Make a motion to approve moving our regular board meeting to December 18th, 2023.
Support.
Kevin, and support from Kim. Yeah, open for discussion.
This was, just so we could ensure that we have a full board present for an evaluation.
Correct. Yeah, I want to have all 7 people there.
So that leaves us the 27th of working, and then what other, will we have another December date, or is this the only one?
There will be no working meeting in December.
Okay, so just the November 27th and then December 18th.
Correct.
I'm assuming we'll take a look to see if we have a lot for November 27 if it's needed.
We do.
Thanksgiving.
We do have a lot.
I've already got like 4 things in there. Sorry. Another policy update. God, that's to look forward to.
Anything further on moving the dates? All right, all in favor of moving our board meeting from December 11th to December 18th,
Is this
2023?
roll call? Is it listed as roll call?
Listed as roll
Is it?
I don't know why.
call. I don't know either.
I don't know, Josh, you know, I don't know the procedure on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all in favor of moving the dates,
Aye.
say aye.
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 All opposed, say the same.
Just in case.
Motion passes. Thank you. All right. That is it. Yeah, I have a motion to adjourn the meeting at 6:43.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 6:43.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say the same.
I missed it that time.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Liz, thank you.